to do this?
Because then you go to, and this is from NBC Boston, this is just what I'm quoting here, on April 16th, so relatively recent, they filed a motion agreeing to have a neutral third party investigate and make recommendations about custody. And then it appears a guardian, and my Latin's not very good.
Ad litem. Yep.
Ad litem was appointed on April 21st. What does that mean?
So I could talk for hours about that. You know, a guardian ad litem, it's really interesting to me as a lawyer, not just a family lawyer, but it's someone who investigates what's best for the children and then reports to the court. And if you think about it, it's a wonderful tool because the judge can say, Kessler, sit down. You know, Stewart, sit down. I don't care what you're saying about your clients. Who's neutral? Who only cares about what's good for the children? And the guardian gives her or his investigation report or recommendation. And that's obviously the starting point. The reason it's interesting to me intellectually as a lawyer is because guardians are usually considered experts. And you know what I know about experts, which is experts can rely on hearsay. So guardians can go out and talk to Johnny's best friend's mommy and to the school teacher and to the care provider, and then can report to the court what they think. You can't do that in court. I can't walk in and my client can't walk in and say, well, I talked to Johnny's best friend's mom and they said, because that would be hearsay. So holistically, it's a good situation because a good guardian can gather all the information, can roll up their sleeves, can pop in unannounced to mom's house or dad's house, can talk to grandma, can talk to just about whoever they want and give the court what they think is best. Every lawyer, though, has a war story about a guardian that didn't do their job. You know, when I gave the guardian the name and phone number to a very crucial witness and the guardian didn't take the time to call that crucial witness, now I'm at a disadvantage. But generally speaking, the guardian will give recommendations. And the other good news, Chris, is they give these recommendations to the parties before court. So everyone knows what the court's going to hear. And whether you like it or not, that's probably what the court's going to do. So it helps settle a lot of cases that never have to go to court.
Because in this case, so it's April 21st, which would have been less than a week before, you know, these children are allegedly found dead at the home in Wellesley. Like, how long is the process once someone is appointed, you know, this guardian ad litem, and they start looking in and trying to determine, and we know the husband from his filing in October, he wanted the kids. How long does that process typically go in figuring out how, you know, where the kids are going to live and who's going to have custody?
That is the question, right? That is, forget to be or not to be. That is the question. How long will it take a guardian to recommend? Because you could argue both sides, right? The guardian should take their time. They're not going to learn everything about this family in 1 week. They're going to need to learn, talk to witnesses, gather a whole bunch of information. The kids are 6 and 7 years old. They've got a whole bunch of years worth of information. So it should take some time. On the other hand, they're in limbo. And the longer it goes, the more friction. And look what happens in this case when there was friction and nobody knew what was going to happen to the children. This is the worst case scenario. So a month would be a really quick turnaround for a guardian. A year would be a really long turnaround for a guardian. In my experience, 2, 3, 4 months is about when the guardian starts to figure out what they think they want to recommend. And then we have this other problem. What about on a temporary basis? What about somebody who wants to move out of the house? How much time should they have with the children in the interim? You know, that's a lot of pressure on a guardian. A good guardian will jump in, get it done quickly, but good guardians are in high demand and they're doing a lot of work for a lot of families. It's a dilemma in family law.
You know, and it's you know, sadly, I think the last time we spoke was the case involving the former lieutenant governor of Virginia, and they were having a divorce that was going on, and that ends up being a case where he took his wife's life and then he took his life. You look at this case, and I think of just, and we don't know the